Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us again. It is Friday afternoon. We rearranged our schedule a little bit this week, and I'd like to jump right in and give you a bit of an update. I'll get to it in a moment, but the two identified clusters that we had been dealing with here in Dutchess County, one at Hedgewood Assisted Living Facility, the other at Marist College, all progressing in the right direction, and I'll give you an update on that in a moment. As of today, we have conducted over 196,000 tests. Keep in mind that access to testing is really important for us to track the disease, obviously, and identify those who might be dealing with COVID-19, but it is also important as part of the evaluation of where we are in transmission, meaning having quick access to a good number of tests, identifying positives and those who don't test positive, results then, of course, in a positivity rate that affects where we are in maintaining openings and continued economic activity, schools, etc. That said, and of course, just knowing from a public health perspective what the impact is in the community. That said, 196,256 tests conducted over these last 8 months. We've identified 5,289 confirmed cases over these 8 months. We're currently monitoring 135 active cases. Now, that number is actually down a little bit from earlier in the week. It's still a little higher from 2 weeks ago, but still in a range and at a number that we're at least feeling optimistic about. So 135 active cases being monitored. Hospitalizations are at 11, which we've kind of settled in at this number at about nearly 10. So round out or average out to 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in that area. We're now at 11 hospitalizations. Now, that isn't the entire picture because, again, as related to Hedgewood Assisted Living, there were hospitalizations from that cluster in the city of Beacon. Those individuals were hospitalized and may still be so in Orange County hospitals. So we want the county leaders monitor that among the region and throughout the region. 4,991 individuals identified as recovered, and the regional positivity rate is at 2%. Now, you know that is an average, right? So that 2% is a regional average, with Rockland and Orange counties at 3.6 and 2.6% respectively. And Dutchess County continues to maintain the lowest positivity rate in the region. We are now at 0.4%. Now, part of that is because you're doing the things that we hoped for and continue to ask to do. Social distancing, physical distancing, small gatherings, small groups, and continuing to wear a mask. And we'd ask you to continue to do those things. Our positivity rate remains, as I said, the lowest in the region at now 0.4%. Now, we had identified 2 clusters. You are aware of that, and I'd like to give you some updated numbers, and as we do that, I just want to remind you, if you have a question, write it in the comment section below the live stream. Be happy to get to as many as we can today. So Hedgewood, we're continuing to see improvement, very positive. At the height of that sort of outbreak, if you will, we identified total 75 cases, so 75 total cases since the start of that outbreak. There are now only, although importantly, 8 current active cases. So 8 current active cases remaining at Hedgewood, down from that total 75. We did have, as we've said, sadly, 7 individuals succumb to the disease from Hedgewood. So 7 deaths associated with that cluster and represent the increase in deaths here in Dutchess County. Now, the county, our health commissioner's order has ended. As the cluster is down to a small number, so that quarantine requirement is not as stringent. Those who have tested positive or who have come into close proximity with someone who's tested positive must continue to quarantine. However, the general order to quarantine the facility has ended. Now, moving to Marist College, again, want to acknowledge the great work at Marist. The administration, the staff, and even students have been very cooperative over these last several months and now during this particular cluster. Our Behavioral and Community Health Department continues to work with the administration and school leadership. Currently, there are 30 confirmed cases. So 30 confirmed cases at Marist College associated with an off-campus party. Students like to call it a dinner or gathering or get-together. It is not. It is a party, and it's not. It can't happen. Now, mind you, it can't happen because students have signed a code of conduct with the college. We ask certainly that you continue to adhere to that code of conduct, but that said, 30 confirmed cases with that off-campus party, and the college has remained on pause, if you will, for a week. So remote learning continues. On-ground classes will resume tomorrow. So in-person, on-campus classes resume tomorrow. The campus remains on pause for the week with virtual classes for a week. Travel is permitted for local activities, and students are aware of that. Off-campus activities, including parties or gatherings or get-togethers or dinners or whatever it is they're being called, are still prohibited. And I remind students, not only for your own interest, right? You signed a code of conduct. That's a contract between you and the campus. We ask you to honor that. But really for your health and the health of others, and our ability to continue to remain open with activities and continue to reduce the restrictions, remaining safe and being considerate of one another, critically important. And the campus is going to be opened for approved visitors for specific campus activities. So if you're a resident and you see that sort of activity ticking up again, it is because the campus has gone through that pause for the week. On campus in-person classes will begin again tomorrow, Saturday, excuse me, and there will be some travel resuming. So if you have a question, write it in the comment section below the live feed. Let's get to a couple. Victor, have the deaths risen substantially recently? Victor, as I just mentioned, 7 associated deaths over the last 2 weeks, all associated with Hedgewood Assisted Living Facility. Not a nursing home, still regulated by the state of New York. We're aware of those. Those are the deaths, sadly, that have occurred over the last 2 weeks. Are Marist and Hedgewood cases in the dashboard? Kathleen, the answer is yes. So all of those cases are identified in the county's dashboard and are included in our positivity rate. So all of that you can find at duchessny.gov, and it is reflected there. And again, our numbers are positive. We're seeing a promising result. We're obviously cautiously optimistic. But to Jeff's question, are numbers rising elsewhere? The short answer is yes. So I will say this out loud. We are prepared for, and we should expect, increased cases here in Dutchess County. We are seeing those increases in Orange and Rockland and Westchester, certainly south of us. There are counties upstate, Broome County, for instance, and a few others that have seen increases, mostly related to college activities. Presumably off-campus dinners, but other activities on and off campus. So those are the things that we're paying attention to. I would note, just as a reference, sometimes off-campus activities are isolated to simply students, only students, which of course is bad enough, right? We don't want anyone getting sick. But sometimes they expand and transmission occurs in community businesses and what have you. And that was the case in Marist. There were on and off campus student and non-student cases. We've identified them all. And to Jeff, your question, yes, in fact, cases are on the rise throughout the state of New York, outside certainly of Dutchess in this region, and you can point to increased cases in other states in the country. For those of you interested, remember we talked a little bit about this. Dutchess County was very, very clear that we felt that Halloween activities could occur this year safely. The governor did agree with us, and there are no identified restrictions. We have issued some basic guidance. Now, I know some of you have already gone to our Facebook page and said how ridiculous that we would issue guidance. First of all, there are people who disagree with you, and that's important to know, that there are those who wanted some guidance. There are those who could care less about or couldn't care less about the guidance. But there are also municipalities and supervisors and mayors who want to be able to communicate what the basic expectations are. And for those folks who are looking for a little bit of assistance, a little bit of guidance, we're providing that to you. But the basics of all of that is common sense, to be logical. We trust that you're going to make smart choices if we give you the information. So for Halloween this year, remember, we have some basic guidance. It starts with, if you're not feeling well, this is not the year to hand out candy. Even if you just think it's allergies, or maybe you don't think it's COVID, it's just really not that year. My suggestion to you is, maybe just to acknowledge that it's not something that you want to do this year. But that said, remember the basics are, if you're feeling sick, probably not a good time to hand out candy or go trick-or-treating. But if you're feeling okay, we're asking folks keep it small, smaller groups. Try to stay local, meaning this isn't the year to storm the village, fill in a van, and go to a neighborhood en masse. It's just stay local, stay close, go door to door in locations that you feel comfortable with, neighbors that you interact with. And of course, if you're handing out candy, just be sensitive to the fact that you're going to have a lot of hands coming back and forth. So if you want to do that the traditional way, be safe about it. If you want to put it out on the porch, and somebody said, I think, oh yeah, if we leave it on the porch, they're going to steal it. Well, you can be home. Your window can be open. You can stand by the door. The candy can be in the porch, and you can say, here, take it. Yes, we say to those who are trick-or-treating, remember, you're putting your hands in that basket, and there'll be a lot of hands in there too. So just be safe, be smart, be considerate, use common sense, and I think we're gonna be more than okay, and it's okay to celebrate the holiday. The same is true for Thanksgiving already. The expectations are gearing up. People want to know. My mother wants to know what we're doing for Thanksgiving. I've told her that we have to keep the group very small, very, very small. But that said, holidays, remember, whole idea, whether it's a religious or community holiday or event, small groups, be safe, be considerate. If you're not feeling well, just stay home this year. And, that's really the guidance we should be taking all the time. But sometimes, we want to mask our symptoms, maybe pretend like we don't have a sore throat and go out. This isn't the year to do that. So that's it. We're asking folks to be vigilant, stick with the guidance that we've offered. Remember, wear a mask, wash your hands, keep the physically distance. And if you're feeling sick, stay home. Now, the governors of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut have updated our travel advisories. Just telling you what the way it is. There are now 38 states and territories on the list. For one whole week, I could visit my in-laws in Virginia. That has changed. So Michigan, Virginia, and Ohio are back onto the list. 38 states and territories identified on that self-quarantine list. So remember, if you travel there or you're traveling from there, you are asked to complete this online form by the state of New York. And you can find it at the New York State Department of Health website, New York State's COVID response website, or of course duchessny.gov will get you a link over there as well. I want to remind folks that this is the year, if you choose, certainly to get your flu shot. I know there are those who choose not to. That is your right. I certainly respect that. But if you feel comfortable getting that flu shot, this is the year certainly to do it, especially as we weather the COVID storm, so to speak. Being able to prevent the transmission of the traditional flu, very important. Our health department continues to encourage folks to get your flu shot. I get mine, my wife gets hers, our kids get theirs. That is our choice. You have that choice as well. We encourage you to consider getting that flu shot this year. Now, you can get a flu shot, of course, at your doctor's office, so reach out to your own physician. You can get a flu shot at a local pharmacy. Several of our retailers have that, at Walmart and Target, for instance. And, of course, if you have any financial concern or insurance concern, you can reach out to the Department of Behavioral and Community Health and schedule an appointment. We host appointments on Mondays, and you can get more information about that at duchessny.gov/flu, duchessny/flu. If you have any questions, write them in the comment section below the live stream. I'd like to get to as much as we can today. Want to acknowledge and thank all those who participated in the census, the on-again, off-again saga of when we would complete our count. This isn't the way it's supposed to happen. There is absolutely no reason that the federal government cut short the census count, but they did. They were sued. A court extended the timing, and then subsequently the courts decided that the federal government could end the census count. Couldn't tell you why they think that's a good idea. I think it's political and it's a shame, but nevertheless, Dutchess County residents did participate in the census. We're grateful for that, grateful to the Complete Count Committee that we organized, led by John Penny, and we're grateful, and let's hope we've gotten as many of those as many as our residents counted as possible. So I think we were near 70% participation, 68% participation. Very, very good, and we're grateful for that. Higher than 10 years ago, but not as great as we wanted. That said, we did have the time shortened by the federal government for that. Honestly, they should really apologize, but nevertheless, here we are. I want to acknowledge a couple things. You likely have seen our Route 44 and Route 9 interchange plan. I hope you have. If you visit DutchessNY.gov, you can find your way to our Transportation Council's 4455 interchange or intersection planning. This is an effort that's been underway. Multiple levels of government, county, state, bridge authority, city of Poughkeepsie, working to fix and to develop a plan to fix what is perhaps the most traveled and likely the most unsafe intersection in Dutchess County. It's also a planning model and transportation model for what not to do. So you'll see a few proposals there and a survey we'd ask you to participate in. And we encourage you to do that. We'd love your input as we develop a plan to change that intersection. And that is phase one. Phase two will be sort of a look at the arterials here in the city of Poughkeepsie and into the town of Poughkeepsie and beyond with the expectation and some improvements to the arterial. So the goal is there to get your input. I apologize, and want to encourage you to take part in that. Karen has asked about guidance changed for salons. I'm not aware of any changes in salon guidance. Remains the same as it has. We are pushing and certainly hope that we will get some relief on theaters, movie theaters, arts and performance theaters and space, and event spaces. We believe that they can function safely. We believe that we have the right support structure to help those businesses. And we believe it's time to get them reopened. The state has yet to give guidance, and frankly, we think it is long past time that they do that. These are institutions that we're going to lose if they can't open in some fashion soon. They are businesses that support our neighbors with jobs, and as importantly, they are businesses that we believe can open with restrictions and with guidance very safely, and we're prepared to assist them in doing so. Last year, we announced the largest expansion to county parks in 50 years. I think hopefully you're somewhat familiar with that. We did take a pause. We didn't move forward aggressively in 2020 with a lot of our parks projects, understandably so, as we are in the throes of developing the 2021 budget, which I'll talk about in a minute before we close today. We are moving now forward with design of our urban trail. This is an expansion of the Dutchess Rail Trail here in the city and town of Poughkeepsie. We're moving forward with that planning effort, and we are also moving forward with one of the most exciting parks projects really in county history. This is the single largest expansion of county parks in 50 years. It's the development of the Lake Walton Preserve. This is a universally accessible park, again, focused on nature trails and access to the lake itself and the environment and ecology of that lake connected directly to the Dutchess Rail Trail, which is also being expanded. You'll see that open later this fall. I'll give you an update on Lake Walton, but later this fall you'll see hopefully the expansion of the Dutchess Rail Trail going east-west, right, from Hopewell into Pauling to connect with the Empire State Trail, and that's a great advancement. But the Lake Walton Preserve will be a universally accessible park in Hopewell Junction, town of East Fishkill, and we'll be holding 2 virtual town halls, one on October 19th, the other on the 20th. We'd ask you to participate in. We're looking for your input and ideas, and we look forward to that. We're going to be developing a Friends of the Preserve group, which will be a community-led group to assist us in that project, and we ask you to participate. So Leonard asks, have we, I suppose the county, told town boards to not allow citizens to attend meetings? Leonard, no, that is not any direction from Dutchess County. In fact, from day one, we have said that if you have an in-person meeting, the rules are very clear. I think now you can have up to not greater than 50 people at any gathering of any kind. Remember, when those numbers were smaller, what we've said to people is that your audience should meet that number limit. So when it was 10 people, we said not more than 10 members of the audience, socially distanced in a space, wearing face coverings or masks, and then you must also have a virtual component. The same is true today. A municipality can have up to 50 people, however, or 50% capacity, whichever is less. Socially distanced at a town or village board meeting or city meeting, they should wear masks during that meeting. There needs to be a virtual component so residents can participate. That is the expectation of the state. Now, that said, municipalities can have virtual meetings only. They are permitted to do so under the governor's executive order. So they're not instructed not to have members of the public. They can have virtual meetings only if they choose. However, there must be a virtual component so residents can participate, but there is no prohibition on having residents participate. Indoor youth sports, when are they opening? Well, there are some indoor youth activities that can occur. Next week we'll give you an update, Jill. I don't have those exactly in front of me, but certain drills and activities can occur indoors with limitations. We'll get you updated, but as of today, not widespread access. So, for instance, my son plays soccer. I coach his team. We're not expecting to have indoor soccer just yet, but I would expect that there will be some indoor youth activities as the state focuses on what to do for the winter. But that said, there are certain activities that can occur indoors with guidance, with safety precautions, and we'd encourage you to visit dutchessny.gov for that information. But we'll give you an update next week on youth sports activities. Evan, when will movie theaters open? As I just said, your guess is as good as mine. We believe they can safely open with limitations. Interestingly enough, because New York State has not permitted any openings of theaters, the entire movie industry is screeched to a halt. And if you think about it, New York State and California are the largest venues, if you will, for movie production and airing. So the fact that New York State is limited and really has closed those theaters, we're actually seeing the productions come to a screeching halt. Additionally, if you know this or not, one of the largest exports for America is and are movies. The arts, theater, and movie production is among the largest exports from America, and that has been curtailed significantly. But most notably, we believe that theaters can open safely with limitations. We're prepared to support that, as are counties across the state of New York, and we encourage that. Let's talk a little bit about voting. Series of town halls last night between the president and vice president, former vice president. So there is an election coming up, in case you didn't know. Election day is Tuesday, November 3rd, the first Tuesday after the first Monday of November. Diane, do you know why? It's in the Constitution. Nevertheless, So first Tuesday after the first Monday of November is Election Day. You can vote in person. If you choose, you go to your poll site, you vote in person. Now, expect to have some delays and some expect social distancing, and you must wear a mask. So you can vote on Election Day. Now, if you don't want to vote in person, you can still vote by absentee, and the last day to apply for an absentee ballot is October 27th. You must apply. You can apply online. Visit dutchessny.gov. Look for elections, and you can apply up till the 27th for an absentee ballot. You'll get your absentee ballot mailed to you. You will then mail it back to the Board of Elections, and that must be postmarked and or delivered by Election Day. Okay. Secondly, you can vote early. October 24th is the first day of early voting. Now, that's in person. For those of you wondering, you show up and you can vote in person early. That's October 24th. 5 locations. from October 24th to November 1st. Fishkill Town Hall, Rhinebeck Town Hall, Millbrook Firehouse, the Dutchess County Board of Elections in the city of Poughkeepsie, and the Boardman Road Branch Library in the town of Poughkeepsie. Those are the 5 locations you can vote early from October 24th to November 1st. You then, as I said, can vote on Election Day in person, as is early voting in person. Those are your choices. Please vote. Please vote. A lot of elections going on. Some elections determined by only a handful of votes. So state legislature, members of Congress, county court judge, and some local elections all underway this November. So please participate and use and exercise your right to vote. Lastly, Evan asks, where can I get COVID testing? Are there sites sponsored by the county? All of the sites, all of the testing locations are supported by us, but not necessarily sponsored by us. So visit duchessny.gov. You can go to the COVID panel on the dashboard, or visit duchessny.gov/coronavirus testing. Coronavirus testing. You'll see both private and public locations available to you to be tested, and they both have the traditional diagnostic testing, the rapid testing. They can occur at a healthcare provider, a pharmacy, or a test site, or hospital, and all of those locations available, and there are no basic restrictions on accessing testing. If we don't have any other questions, talk a little bit about the budget, and then we'll close up for today. I do want to note, as you likely know, county governments are in the process of developing our 2021 budget. So I will present to you and the county legislature the 2021 county budget on October the 28th. So I will release that budget on October 28th. There are 3 things you should know. The 2021 budget will spend less than 2020, and with a significant loss of revenue and other major impacts to the county budget, we will be spending less in 2021 than we did in expected to in 2020. We will also shrink the county workforce significantly with no layoffs. We were able to achieve that by furlough and early retirement incentives. Grateful to the county employees. We're going to lose a lot of good people who are taking early retirement or retiring, but that is the step that we're taking in order to reduce cost and live within our means under these unprecedented circumstances. And lastly, we will not raise taxes. So the 2021 budget will not include any increase in taxation, and we think that is critically important. Now, there will be a series of public forums we'd encourage you to participate in. We'll give you those dates in the weeks ahead, but we'll have both daytime and evening public forums on the 2021 budget. The first, though, being October 28th, which will be our announcement of the budget. It'll be our Facebook Live presentation along with a telephone town hall, as we do annually, to talk about the 2021 budget. It'll give you an opportunity to get more information and ask questions. And as we have done now for 8 months, we're going to continue to communicate with you. We'll be back live again next week with our regular town hall. And then, as I said, on October 28th, we'll be having a telephone town hall, Facebook Live, as it relates to the proposed county budget. And with that, I'd like to close today with a little bit of information about the 2021 budget. You'll see it here in this video. In the meantime, though, be safe, be kind, and stay healthy. On October 28th, I will present the 2021 executive budget. And here's what you can expect. We will cut county spending. We will shrink the county workforce with no layoffs. And we will not raise your property taxes. As we finalize the budget, I can tell you its development has been more complex than ever before. 2020 has been one of the most challenging years in history because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And its ongoing impacts mean we have many more challenges to confront in 2021. The revenue needed to pay for the programs and services you rely on, especially during this pandemic, have been hit hard due to the economic shutdown. We anticipate a total sales tax revenue loss this year of more than $15 million. New York State is facing its own fiscal challenges, and as a result, aid is being held back and possibly cut for many of the state-mandated programs and services this county provides you. Without federal assistance to offset dramatic revenue losses as a result of the pandemic and economic shutdown, the future is even more challenging. Fortunately, though, Dutchess County has for years taken a responsible, conservative approach to protecting your tax dollars, including building a strong financial foundation that allows us to weather many storms. Last week, we finalized the county's 2019 year-end audit, closing the books with a general fund balance of $56.9 million. We have been diligent in protecting and enhancing our reserves to ensure the county can withstand emergencies and changing economic circumstances. Never has the county's fund balance been more important than now. And because of the steps we took together, our county could not have gone into this pandemic, this economic crisis, any stronger. Our reserve has been crucial in covering the rising pandemic and emergency response costs, and it is a critical part of the 2021 budget. With more than 150 dedicated employees taking advantage of our early retirement incentive, our county workforce will be smaller next year, and we will save more than $10 million. But make no mistake, as we cut spending, hold the line on property taxes, and shrink the county workforce, there will be challenges. Services will be impacted. Some will still be restricted because of ongoing COVID-19 safety guidelines, and others may take longer to provide as we serve more people with fewer employees. But we will work hard, be creative, and find new ways to meet your expectations. We know these past 6 months have been difficult for everyone. We are all looking for some certainty about the future. So you can be certain of this. My proposed 2021 budget reduces spending with no layoffs, and there will be no increase to your county property taxes. There will be challenges, but we will persevere together. There is much to look forward to and even more to be done, and rest assured, as we have these last 9 years, we walk, we talk, we live, we serve, and we overcome together.